Welcome to Dice Control Dojo. I'm Phil, and I'm practicing every day and sharing my tips of practice so we can all get better at the craps table. Today we're talking about the most important thing you can pay attention to in any of the activities we do in all 90 of these videos is the grip. The most important thing. Your grip is your life. Your life is the grip. I'll explain how to do the grip, how I do the grip, how I use my practice mirrors, how I practice at home and away, and what are the things that are so specific to the grip that we need to work on. It can be overwhelming. It's okay. If you do just a little bit of it, I'm sure you'll do better at the casino. But I'm going to give you the lowdown on every part of this grip that's important and important to me. So remember, I am a student of this. This is the way I do the grip. I have a three-fingered grip. I've changed it from the tongs to the three-fingered grip a few years back, and I find it very good. I can figure out how to adapt my throw through this grip so that I make sure that everything's going well. I know what's wrong with it. But your grip is you. I'm going to do what I do. Maybe you can convert my practicing tips into your type of throwing so that you can make sure you know what looks good and what doesn't when you throw and practice. So with that being said, my morning routine talks about pickup, right? My first part of the practice routine every morning is my stance is getting to the way I want to move, and then I'm gripping the dice, right? I'm not converting over yet. It's just getting to the dice and gripping them. So we're going to talk about how important it is to get these dice to where they need to be really quickly in upcoming videos for when you're on the actual casino floor. But for right now, we're just specifically focusing on this grip. And every morning, I come up on my stance, make sure I'm balanced and secure, and I pick that dice up. And it's very important that you pick these dice up specifically how you want them to go every single time. So I use this mirror. So when we're starting off in the morning, I use this mirror. And this gripper is fantastic because it has the grooves in the right way. If you can see this, I'm going to show you the gripper that you can purchase online. And why I like it is the grooves are higher in the back and shorter in the front. They have a way, if you're gripping differently, to put tongue depressors in here to move it up. I like this exactly like this. So when I go in the morning, I'm grabbing this gripper the exact same way each time so that the fingers are aligned. The fingers are aligned. The thumb is where it's supposed to be. Every single time I pick this up. This is the most important part, is the pickup, because if your fingers are off a little bit this way, I'm exaggerating, you can see how that's going to throw differently, and this is going to throw differently, and this is going to throw differently. These are all three very bad grips. You want to make sure that grip is exactly the same way you pick up every single time. And so the practice of the pickup is the most important thing. So once I've practiced my grip to make sure I get what I'm doing with the gripper is I'm getting that feel down on how far up this is going to be in the dice, how far down my thumb is going to be, and I'm practicing that grip. And I'm going to tell you, I move my grip over a little bit. It's a matter of millimeters to make sure that these dice are aligned each and every time, so that when I come in to do my throw, that's one set of things I don't have to worry about, that I know that when I pick up this dice, and I practice every morning just picking them up, that you want to make sure you're doing it the same way. So I know I'm obsessed with this, but I'm serious. Grip is 90% of the throw. If you don't have this grip right, and your fingers are off a millimeter, it's going to send the dice everywhere. This is what the casino knows. They don't believe in control throwers because there's too many variables to this art. There's too many. So I'm trying to eliminate as many as possible so that when you do throw that dice, it's the same way each time. Then you let the dice do what they do. They're going to do what they're going to do. It's still random drops. It's still going to hit a chip, or it's still going to catch the felt. But if you can eliminate a lot of that, you're going to reduce your risk. So the grip is so important because when you're coming to it, one, when I was coached and mentored at one of the classes, I was coming straight on like this, right? Well, what's happening to my wrist? Look, it's curved, right? Which makes no sense. This wrist has to be completely straight so that when you're throwing the dice, your dice is completely straight. So why would I grip it at an angle and then when I turn, it's not straight? I want it to be straight when it's coming into the turn. So they adapted my pickup to just put this at a 45-degree angle. For me, this is how I do it. And I found it's very nice to pick up. So then you see my dice gets picked up. So when I convert over, everything's straight, right? I'm picking it up. At the angle too, I can see where I want to lay my fingers to pick up those dice. So that's very important when you're doing this, is to make sure that you're picking them up at the same time, every time. That my wrist angle is straight, okay, right? My fingers are on the dice. So I use my mirrors to make sure they're even. So when I convert over, that's one less thing I have to worry about. Your thumb should be in the same position every single time, right there. And you need to, most important for this, how much tension you're putting on these dice, right? I was gripping them so hard, that when I get to here, I couldn't relax my wrist enough to throw. So once again, my coach noticed, hey, relax that wrist. And to this day, I still can't relax it enough. I feel like I'm going to drop those dice. But that's what my coach wants. He's like, it should be, when you pick these up like this, right? It should be so light that I should be able to pop those out with my fingers. So you'll see in upcoming videos when we're talking about the turn, when we're talking about this, that right here is the same way. They should be, your wrist and arm should be so relaxed that that thumb is just holding those dice together. It should be the same thing for the pickup. You should really have that grip so nice and relaxed, that when you convert it over, everything's fine. So the last thing I want to talk about, and I'll get into details about this, to make my life a little easier so I'm throwing correctly. When I put these in the morning, and the first thing I do is I put these in, I'm going to show right here. I take a pen and I mark off where they are on my dice. So after I grip this, I know this is crazy, and my craps crew thinks it's crazy, but I mark off where these dice should be on my fingers, right? So when I'm practicing, I can rip and grip really fast because I'm lining these up with my fingers. And then when I go to convert over and I'm looking, I can see these lines are exactly where they should be when it comes to dice throwing. So if you can see that, this is insanely above and beyond what I would ever ask anybody to do. But for me, I find it convenient because when I'm going to grip these dice in the morning and I'm practicing, I want to make sure I'm picking these up the same way each time. And I want to get that feel in my brain so that synapses are, that those muscle memories are picking it up. I'm feeling how that is against the tips of my fingers on this side. I'm feeling how my thumb is. So when I go to pick these up, it's the same way each time. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about how important it is, how millimeters off your throw could be, whether it's any other kind of grips. If you're doing it a little bit different, if each finger is off just a wee, it could be monumental as you're throwing it down there, because it's exponential as you throw it, right? If your finger's off a millimeter here, the dice are going to be 1.5 feet off by the time you get to the end. So it's important that you get that pickup right. You got to practice that pickup every day. You got to practice the pickup. You got to practice your wrist being relaxed, having the right angle so it's straight, that your fingers are aligned, that your thumb is relaxed and just barely holding on, and that I use ink to make sure I'm doing it each and every day a little bit better. And that's how I do it. So I truly believe the grip is the most important part of dice throwing, and you're going to see in upcoming videos the turn and everything. I'm going to relate more to how this grip is so important. So I hope you tune in. Tomorrow we're going to talk about how to dedicate and do deliberate practicing. So we're going to talk back about the talent is overrated. What is deliberate practice? Let's get into detail on how deliberate practice versus just going to a golfing range or just playing golf 3 times a week, or just going to the casino 3 times a week, how that's different than deliberate practice. And I hope you join me. And as always, I'm looking for feedback. Please enter some feedback into the screen after this video. See if you liked it. If you have any questions or specifics about it, put it in there. I may do a short on it to kind of show you some details on that. I'd appreciate it. And remember, you'll never see any betting strategies in any of my videos except for one, knowing that the longer you throw, the more money everyone makes at the casino.